This is Radio Chatskill. I'm Tim Bruno. The Smoke Joint Catskills opened in summer 2019 in Livingston Manor, New York, but the original location started in 2006 in Brooklyn. In her series Eating Upstate, Erin Shearer visits the Smoke Joint Catskills to learn more about their journey from Fort Greene to the banks of the Willowweemock Creek.
Focusing on Southern barbecue with a Catskills twist, the Smoke Joint features staples like cornbread, coleslaw, collard greens, chopped chicken and pork, and brisket that's been smoked for long periods, sometimes up to 18 hours. Originating in Fort Greene, Brooklyn in 2006, it's just commenced its fifth season operating in Livingston Manor. The Smoke Joint is owned and operated by Ben and Jennifer Grossman along with Craig Samuel, and it's the subject of today's Eating Upstate. Ben and Jennifer Grossman were born in Brooklyn and grew up in Rockland County. After high school, the two went their separate ways, with Ben going to SUNY Albany and Jennifer going to SUNY Binghamton, followed by culinary school for Ben and law school for Jennifer. After Ben graduated from the Culinary Institute of America, he met Craig Samuel, another Culinary Institute of America graduate, while working at the restaurant Peachaline. They too went their separate ways, but in 2006 they reunited to open the original Smoke Joint in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. In 2013, the Smoke Joint was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, the Food Network program hosted by Guy Fieri. During that time period, Ben and Craig opened several other restaurants under the umbrella of the B&C Restaurant Group, all offering a Southern-style cuisine similar to the Smoke Joint. With their operations expanding and seeing a niche for slow-smoked barbecue offerings in the Catskills, Ben and Craig decided to close the Smoke Joint in Brooklyn in 2018. Here's Jennifer explaining the decision.
The original Smoke Joint really stood out as a leader when barbecue was sort of taking over a culinary fervor in the five boroughs. Interestingly enough, there's quite a bit of limitation on true smoking when you're in New York City in terms of air emissions and other types of piping and ventilation. So many quote-unquote barbecue restaurants use liquid smoke. So the great thing about the Smoke Joint was that they truly smoked their meats on site. And we, in fact, have that original smoker here in Livingston Manor in our outdoor area. So the relocation was really more about the growth of B and C restaurant groups, which still has 4 restaurants in Brooklyn, and the expansion of a community here in the Catskills that I was a part of and have been a part of for the last almost 30 years, and realizing it was a culinary interest that was not yet met up here. So we essentially could do both. We could retain a presence and a footprint in Brooklyn with the continuation of really great Southern comfort food in a variety of levels, and yet bring that sort of down-home barbecue up to the Catskills.
For the last 30 years, Jennifer has worked as an environmental lawyer on projects involving the Catskill Forest Preserve and the Beaverkill watershed, and for the last 15 of those years, she has called Livingston Manor her home. Jennifer went looking for a place for the Smoke Joint to resettle and found the perfect property located on the Willowweemock Creek on Old Route 17.
My brother Ben and I grew up fly fishing in the Catskills as soon as we were old enough to hold a fishing rod. Our grandparents met up here and fished here. Our parents met here and fished up here. And so it's always been a very special place in our hearts to fly fish. The Willowweemock is also the birthplace of American fly fishing. Theodore Gordon founded the art and craft of fly fishing on this beautiful, beautiful stream. So when the property became available, as I was very quickly aware, being a resident here, I contacted Ben and Craig and said, I think I found a place where we can relocate that satisfies all of our needs and interests, both for an easily accessible place to the public, a beautiful natural area to enjoy good quality food, and a way to truly appreciate the blessings of the natural assets of the Catskills, one of which is the tremendous trout fishery that the property sits right against. I felt it made a lot of sense to open a business here that would welcome the public in a very different way and feeding hungry people. So it was no doubt a very focused reasoning and location to be in Livingston Manor. And again, I live literally around the corner across the river. So it's very easy for me to walk to work.
She also took on overseeing the management of the Smoke Joint Catskills operation in addition to her duties as a lawyer. For Jennifer, the biggest challenge with relocating to the Catskills was having to deal with a more limited pool of restaurant staffers. The Smoke Joint's Livingston Manor location opened in the spring of 2019.
Well, there's definitely a volume component. You know, there's a lot more foot traffic in the Brooklyn locations than there is up here. So there's a sort of quantity component of food that needs to be produced down there to satisfy the city demographic. Also, there's a much larger labor pool in the city to choose from for employment and employees, folks with a lot of experience because of the over 35,000 restaurants that exist in the city and the very common sort of transfer between jobs of those folks. And then physically, the locations in the city were very urban setting, didn't have as much outdoor space as we have up here. So those would be, I'd say, the three main differences between the Brooklyn venue versus the Catskill venue.
The Smoke Joint will smoke their meats for up to 18 hours. Over the years, they've used different varieties of wood to smoke their meats. When they first opened in Brooklyn, they used sugar maple culled from Ben and Jennifer's family property. Subsequently, they've experimented and used post oak, apple wood, cherry wood, hickory, and mesquite. These days, they use local ash wood. In a joint statement from Ben and Craig, they state that, quote, some of the best barbecue pit masters make a conscious effort to demonstrate what winemakers call terroir, or the taste of a place. We are especially proud to use local ash wood to demonstrate our version of what Catskills barbecue should taste like. They source from a variety of vendors in the Catskills region in northeastern Pennsylvania, including corn from Outside Matters, just over the state line in Hawley, and serve beer from local breweries like Catskill Brewing, Upward Brewing Company, and the Roscoe Beer Company. According to Jennifer, the menu has remained the same from its time in Brooklyn, with a few adjustments made.
For the most part, the menu was retained from its original form in Brooklyn. We did reduce some of the options. For example, we don't serve dirty rice, but for the most part, we retained all of the meats. We added a few of our own special platter combinations named after fly fishing, like tight lines or long drift, which to any angler will be familiar terms. We also modified the price a bit. New York City pricing was higher, and we wanted to respect and accommodate the needs of our community members as well as visitors. So we kept the price down as much as we could and yet still retained the wonderful flavor of the original Smoke Joint.
Every so often, they encounter customers who recall the Smoke Joint from its previous location in Fort Greene, and in the process win over new customers.
We get some wonderful, wonderful customers coming in with big smiles on their faces, saying, we found you, we thought we lost you forever. Folks recognize our logo, which is a round, dark red circle with 3 white flames coming through. Folks will drive by and say, is this the same Smoke Joint as in Fort Greene? And then we also have a billboard on the highway where many people come in and say, we loved you in Brooklyn and we love you now even more here. You're now our regular stop as we, drive up and down Route 17. So absolutely, we get a lot of repeat customers from our Brooklyn roots.
Jennifer has continued working as an environmental lawyer, something she devotes herself entirely to when the Smoke Joint is closed in the winter. As such, Jennifer is constantly working to eliminate waste and operate the restaurant sustainably.
So we always are seeking to reduce waste, whether that's food waste or that separating recyclables from other trash, and also trying to, as best we can, impress upon our eaters that, portion size really is important, that what we provide you with is a nice, healthy serving of food that if you can't finish it, we give you a to-go box to have people understand really what the American palate should be trained better to sort of, not be a gourmand and just want quantity over quality, but it's about quality over quantity. And of course, our goal is to really make sure that people appreciate any kind of product that they're eating that comes from another creature, be it a pig, a cow, a chicken, a fish, a shrimp, whatever it is to appreciate and respect that one life was given to satisfy yours, and we just want that to be a really respectful chain of eating consciousness.
Going forward, Jennifer, Ben, and Craig hope to expand the Smoke Joint's catering operation in the Catskills.
So we're really excited about what the future holds. We are doing a tremendous amount of catering events, either small-scale events like a bachelor party for 30 people, or a rehearsal dinner for 50 people, or large weddings for 120 to 150 people. So we're seeing a real increase in off-premises catering opportunities.
The Smoke Joint is open through October and is located at 630 Old Route 17 in Livingston Manor. I'm Erin Shear. Eating Upstate is a production of WJFF Radio Catskill.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, a new youth poetry festival. This is Radio Chatskill.